Hi guys! Today I'm going to show you the process of how I made this rug from my leftover scraps. So first I took all of my scraps that I was going to use, which was wool and cashmere scraps, and I cut them into about 1-inch strips. I like to do this just when I'm sitting in front of the TV or when I need some fresh air. This is about how many strips I started out with, and I ended up adding more later. Next, you have to cut a tiny hole on both ends of each strip, and this is so you can string your fabric together. And of course, just do this for every strip, or you can just kind of do it as you go. I usually do this incrementally. I cut a batch, and then I weave them, and then I cut some more, so it's not so monotonous. And then you'll want to start with 3 separate strands of a few strips together. I like to create my yarn as I go, that way I don't have such long tails that I'm passing over and under every time. So I just start off with a few feet at a time. And you can just pin those ends together or go ahead and sew them. And we start our weaving process. Now I'm going to break this down a little bit further for you. So this is a different fabric just so you can see clearer. You'll see that I have my 3 strands. And we're going to braid this just like we would hair. So our left piece comes over the center, and then our right piece comes over the center, and so on and so forth. And we'll start by doing that about 4 or 5 times. And that depends on what shape you're making and that kind of thing. But we want a few knots. And then we want to just turn the piece. So we're going to lay it flat and turn our ends so that they wrap to the right. And then we're going to take our leftmost piece of the 3 tails and pass it underneath our rightmost braid loop and continue braiding. We're going to complete that knot, and then we're going to do 1 more knot before we pass that leftmost strand underneath the rightmost loop once again. And make sure you braid over where you've pinned or sewed. And then we basically just continue this for the rest of the rug. And this is the hardest part here at the beginning, to get the shape that you want, but it does get easier as you go. And I'm just going to keep braiding, keeping my eye on my 3 strands. And every other time I go to bring the left strand over the center, I pass it first underneath that right loop of the existing braid. And I want this to continue in a spiraling pattern so it starts to make kind of an oval or a circular shape. Now let's go back to our main example where I'm working on expanding my rug outward. I'm just doing this exact same method over and over again, adding on strips of fabric as I run out. And the way that I string my fabric together is, you'll remember we made the holes in every strip. So I take the new piece, I take the beginning of the piece and pass it through the hole on the end of the previous piece. And then I take the beginning of it and string it through the hole on the end of itself. Then I just gently pull it taut. If that sounds really complicated, just look up t-shirt yarn and the method is exactly the same. And then you just have to be patient and creative and keep braiding and keep plugging away at it, and it'll come together. to finish the rug, I just weave my ends so that they're under the fabric, and then I sew all 3 strands together with a straight stitch. Subscribe to my channel for more zero waste upcycles.